All right, this is another episode of the Express Lane Podcast with
Kevin Stan. We got Nate from Hershberger Heritage Farms with us today. So, Stan, you set up again, finding a guest for us.
Somebody's got to do it.
So, well, yeah. How did you, was it just through Instagram or?
Yeah, like I just looked at all local farms around here, just while I'm on this little side quest of trying to be more
Manly?
I guess, yeah, that independent.
Okay.
And this just the whole lifestyle thing. And came upon your page, watched your videos. Like, all right, this guy's cool, and he lives, a half hour away.
Yeah.
So, reach out to you, boom, response.
I try to operate my life that way, like my customer service. That's number one. If a customer reaches out to me, I respond to them as immediately as soon as possible. I don't let stuff go to the next day or the day after, because then it just looks bad. You reach out to them and they had questions you could have answered immediately, which could have garnered a sale. So like I'm trying to.
Oh, sure. And like on the other side of that, if I message somebody or I have a problem with something and they get back to me right away.
Yeah.
It's like, all right, that's easy. If I have a choice to go to somebody else or back to the same person that was just that helpful,
Yeah.
I'm going to go right back there. And
For sure.
even if it's a couple extra dollars.
Yep, no doubt.
I was going to say, try to move your chair a little bit
A little
closer.
closer,
Yeah.
Yeah. How's that?
Should be like a fist almost
Yeah.
from kind of feel a little bit right on top of the mic.
Yep.
But
I think I got it.
other
Makes it
than that,
easier for the audio editing.
Yeah, no doubt.
I guess step one is who you are and like why. I guess not why, but like how did you come to this?
All right. Yeah. So I grew up in Pennsylvania, Bedford County, PA. So South Central PA, right on the border of Maryland. My grandfather was a farmer, had a large property out there. He was a dairy farmer. I didn't really grow up like helping on the farm or just little stuff. I wasn't like involved in anything. I was just around it. And then as time went on, he got older and got out of farming and then sold some of the land and gave a lot of the land to his kids. He had 8 kids, my mom being one of them.
oh wow.
So the land was passed down to the children, which fortunately my mom and dad got like 100 acres of that original like 800-acre farm.
Oh wow.
And my dad still owns it today, so it's nice.
What kind of farm was it? Just everything?
Dairy.
Oh, okay, dairy
cows,
farm.
yeah, yep.
Do your parents still farm
No,
the
no,
piece they have?
Now, my dad was a mechanic and then got into the Cat Scale Company, the company that you probably know. Cat Scales, you don't see them around. Or you probably don't get to get weighed. They weigh all the big semi trucks on the highway. Like you gotta get a weight
I've
check,
seen them.
They got to check how much what you weigh, what the trucks weigh. So he got into that and then worked his way up into management of that company. And then he retired a few years ago. So they're just kind of chilling now. So either way, grew up there, real small town, like 80 kids in my graduating class. So like really small. Played a lot of sports, was pretty active as a kid. And then after high school, wasn't really sure what to do with my life. So I joined the Air Force, just decided to, leave the small town I grew up in and just see the world, like see what was out there. Cause I'd never really been anywhere,
Okay.
And got in the Air Force, started doing some like IT stuff. I got in originally just doing it was like 2001 when I went in. So like Windows 2000 was like the rage, you know what I'm saying? So it was like I first went into IT because that was like the new stuff, So I got in the Air Force. I went to basic training. 9/11 happened on like my second day of basic training.
Oh, jeez.
And then it kind of went from like, I was in the Air Force. So the joke is they call the Air Force the chair force, because it's like you're usually sitting down doing your job. Not everybody. I shouldn't generalize it like that, but in certain jobs. And then so it kind of went from like peacetime to wartime. Like I went to the military thinking like, yeah, this is just going to be cool, whatever. Like there's nobody attacking us. Like it's going to be chill. And then it was just like immediate wartime. And so like everything changed overnight. So like basic training went from being like kind of laid back and chill to like, drill instructors were just like pounded you like every day, like, push-ups and everything just got really crazy, which was good. Like I kind of needed that anyway. And then got my first job in the Air Force, went to Hanscom Air Force Base up in Massachusetts, still doing IT stuff. And I did that for a few years and then had the opportunity to cross-train into a different career field. You have to take an ASVAB test before you join the military. You got to take this test. It's like an IQ, not an IQ test, but like the SATs, call it that. They give you a rating, and then based on your rating, you can get certain jobs, and then you can't get certain jobs because either you're too stupid, or whatever.
Okay.
I was going to say you did the Air Force, so obviously you're smart to begin with.
I mean,
you didn't go straight to the
I don't
Army.
want to give myself too much credit, but yeah. So then I had the opportunity to cross-train into intelligence. So then I got to cross-train to be a imagery analysis tech, basically, which means I would interpret satellite imagery to find like enemy positions, identify types of industry, like identify anything on the ground, whatever it was. They'd shoot you a photo from the satellite, and you'd be like, "Yep, here's all the stuff going on. This is what I think this industry is." Blah,
Okay.
blah, blah. Then you pick out targets from there. And the military uses that obviously to then go and bomb or whatever.
Does that come with like security clearance?
Oh yeah. TSSCI clearance. Yep. Which helped me. So I did that. I did that. Got into that school. That was just a 6-month long training that I had to go to once I decided to cross train into intelligence. And then while I was at that training, the whole like Predator Reaper drone program like was going off the chain. It was all starting up. Like they were recruiting people left and right for that. So a guy came into our schoolhouse one day and was like, "Hey, anybody want to volunteer for this program?" And I was like, "Yeah, sign me up." And so then I finished that imagery analysis school, and then I went to another 6-month training to learn how to fly the Pred. I shouldn't say fly. I'm not really like in the air, but like
You're controlling it still, yeah.
Yeah, I got to wear a flight suit.
See, that's worth it right there.
But-
Does
but
it come with a call sign?
No, because I was a sensor operator. I was the co-pilot. I wasn't really like actually physically flying the plane. Depending on the setup, there are a few different setups. Like it's in a Connex box, so the cockpit's in a literal Connex box. Like you pick it up off a truck and set it in the desert, and then hook the satellite up to it. Now you're flying a drone.
Yeah, I'm pretty familiar. I did a lot of AC-130s and
There you go. Yeah.
attack choppers in Call of Duty.
Yeah. There you go.
Not
Same
the same
idea.
Stan.
It's in IR, so it looks the same whether it's a video game or not. So I got to my first duty station after that was Creech Air Force Base in Las Vegas, just south of Area 51, like up in the middle of the desert in Nevada. And that went great, we were like literally supporting the troops on the ground. Like there were dudes over in Iraq and Afghanistan that were like driving down the highways. They were getting like IEDs blown up in front of them. And that was part of our big, part of our job was to, survey the roads that we knew that our convoys were going to be taking. And because in IR and infrared, you can see like a recently dug hole, right? There'll be like, there's like
okay.
you can see the differences in the ground and stuff. So we would identify stuff like that. And then sometimes we'd catch dudes putting them in, we carried, a couple of Hellfire AGM-114 missiles. And if necessary, we would take them out.
Oh, wow.
But I should go back to the whole cockpit thing, because that's kind of interesting. Like the cockpit being in a Connex box, it's like a legit airplane cockpit. Like there's gauges and knobs and like everything everywhere, up and down. You got screens everywhere, and that was that whole training. That's what you were learning to do. So I did that 6-month training. Then I went to my first duty station, which is at Creech Air Force Base for that job. And then you did like another 3 months of simulator. Like you didn't like actually touch a real aircraft. You like sat in a sim and learned how to fly on like a video game basically before they would like give you real airtime. And so that all went well, and I got in the seat and started doing my thing, and then got some seniority, and then I started. After so many hours, like 500 hours, you're basically an expert. Like you can fly with your eyes closed, per se. And then you become like in the training. Then now, like I was a staff sergeant at E5 at the time, which is like mid level, And then I was responsible for training the new guys that would come in, because I was one of the more senior operators at the time. So new guys would come in, and then they would sit with me for a few months, just like in the sim. You'd sit in the sim with them and teach them how to do it. And their first, like, I don't remember what it was, whether it was 50 hours, you would sit with them in like real world ops, where you would sit behind them. They would be in the sensor operator seat, which is the right hand seat. The pilot, there's like a real pilot sitting in the left seat. So you're basically like a co-pilot. And if you're controlling one aircraft, we have like two setups where you control one drone. There'd be one pilot and one sensor operator for one aircraft, and those are going to be like the more like high value operations where like you're either like hunting a dude, like a one dude. You're looking for one dude, and if you find him, like you're going to shoot him. Otherwise, if you were doing like a bunch of ISR, just like generic intel gathering, like doing the road sweeps and stuff like that, there was another setup where there would be 3 sensor operators in a line with each their own cockpit and then one pilot for those 3. So whenever the pilot wasn't controlling your aircraft, you were. But just to click on the map, like you would just like click on the map where you wanted the plane to fly, and it would fly over there and start doing like an orbit. It would do like a 1 mile, 2 mile, 3 mile orbit. It would just keep flying that orbit.
Okay.
While you were looking, and then I was controlling the camera. There's a big camera called the MX-15 camera on the front of the Pred and the Reaper at the time. I don't know what they use now. Like this is 2006, 2005. And that camera is like super high powered. You can see like miles and miles and miles. It's got a laser in it, so I can like guide the bombs in. Like we fire the bombs off. You can also like buddy laze from like another. Let's say like there's like another aircraft in the area that like doesn't have any weapons on it, or you don't have any weapons on. Let's say they can fire one of their missiles, and you can turn your laser on and guide in their missile to where you need it to go. So it's it's all like a big network thing. It's all satellite.
And this is from 15, 20 years ago.
Yeah,
like, what do they got now?
Who the hell knows? Yeah. But Creech was...
Iran's finding out.
Well, they already know. This is old tech here. But yeah, like Creech Air Force Base was like, really, your security clearance. Everybody's got a security clearance in my squadron. Like you couldn't have your phone inside. Obviously, you had to leave everything outside the building and all that.
So how close to Area 51?
I mean, relatively close.
Close enough to see some stuff? What are we talking
I never got to see anything. No, and I would tell you guys, like, I'm into that shit. Like, I would, if I saw some aliens or some kind of crazy craft, I would say, but I never saw anything. But then again, like, when I'm there at work, like, I'm inside. Like, I'm in a building. Like, there's no windows. Like, you can't even see out.
That's a distraction, dude. I don't like aliens.
But I got to employ a few AGM-114s, shot 2 different times. And that was interesting because like you're watching dudes' backs, like you're watching other Americans' backs. Like they don't even know you're there until you need them. And there's a dude on the ground called a JTAC, a Joint Terminal Air Controller. He's responsible for all the aircraft in his area. So like whatever the radius is, call it 20 miles, 25 miles, anything happening in that 20-mile radius, he's responsible for that aircraft if it's going to employ weapons. So you have to like check in with him. So you're like, you can be like, hey, I just watched a Humvee blow up. Like they see some bad guys. He's like, all right, yeah, chill out. Let me get the info. Like you can't just go off and just fire off a missile, So you would check in with that guy, and then he would be like, yep, I see. He could pull your feed too. He can like log on to the computer and like see what you're looking at. And then he'd be like, yeah, that's cool. I see a dude down there at AK-47. Like, you're cleared hot. Those are like those are the 2 words you need to hear, cleared hot.
Clearing hot.
Once you're cleared hot, then you can fire as soon as you're ready. Then you got to like set up, the pilot would set up the orbit and set up the run in, and then you'd employ the missile.
So you liked your job?
Yeah, I liked it at the time. Yeah, it was cool. Yeah, it was interesting, no doubt. And then kind of like everything, it runs its course, and then you're like, yeah, I'm doing the same shit every day. Not that I was shooting people every day. I'm just saying, just like sitting there in the Connex box every day, it just kind of got a little bit old.
How long were you in the Air Force for?
8 years. Total.
8 years. Okay.
Yeah. At the time when I joined, they were offering like a $20,000 bonus if you signed up for 6 years, and then I end up extending for 2 more. Without actually having to re-enlist for 4 more. I could just like extend for 2 just because I wasn't sure what I was going to do if I got out. So.
And then after the Air Force, did you go straight to
corporate?
Farm?
No. I went to corporate after that. Because my tech background and then my background in the Pred and all that like fancy technology with the cameras and lasers and all that, I was able to get a job at SRI International, which was, when I first got hired, they were Sarnoff Corporation. I don't know, you've probably never heard of it, but they're a defense contractor.
It
basically.
Sounds like a bad guy corporation from a James Bond movie, just based on the name.
That is what it is, basically, yeah. Like,
and you got out, what, in 2008-ish?
2009.
Oh, all right, that's right when freaking Obama's turning the heat up with Preds.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, they were missions flying 24 hours a day. Like, you would hot swap a seat. Like, you would just, some dude would get out the seat, you would hop in and take over the mission.
Damn.
Oh, wow.
And the Preds were, in Iraq and Afghanistan. Like, we're sitting in Las Vegas controlling these aircraft that are in theater. And then whenever they would need refueled, you point them back towards the airfield and turn your satellite off, and the guys on the ground in theater turn their satellite on, grab the airplane, and land it. And then they send one right back up, and then you take control of that one.
Damn.
Wow.
But yeah, so it was definitely interesting. But because I had that background, I was able to get a pretty cush corporate job in Princeton, working for a company that was taking that same camera that I had experience with and putting it on an 80-foot telescoping tower to send back to theater to do like FOB, like the forward operating base security. So they would take this trailer, they would stand it up at their base, and they'd put the camera up, and then it can see really far. And it also has that laser in it. So the Preds that are overhead now can look down and see that laser. They don't have any missiles, obviously, on the ground, but they would like fire the laser and look over there, and then we can turn our camera on and look. It'll search around and find the laser point, so they can like identify enemies from their base, and then we can go check it out to see if it's like a threat or not.
Damn.
So I worked on that. Was called the Betsy program. I don't really remember what it stood for. It was like a big acronym, Betsy, BETSSC or something. So then they were offering to send you overseas. You could volunteer to go overseas as a contractor, which is what I did, because they were paying like out the ass, like you were making a bunch of money. So I took a position doing that and went over for like 6 months, I think. End up tearing my ACL playing basketball over there.
I was just saying, not flying a drone.
No. Well, yeah. So then I came back because I was like a program manager at that point. So I had a crew of dudes that worked for me that like troubleshot those systems and troubleshot the software that like controlled the camera and stuff like that. So I tore my ACL, then had to fly back on crutches, get back to the U.S., and then back in the office. Now I'm back in Princeton, and then my boss ended up getting fired, and then got promoted into his position, and did that for a few years. Went to a bunch of trade shows, just trying to sell the technology, not just to the government, but anybody that wants it, basically. And I kind of got tired of the corporate gig, and my boss got fired, and I got promoted, and that was great. And then just kind of, what am I doing with my life? I'm like sitting behind this desk every day.
How old?
I was 30.
Okay.
Early 30s, maybe 31. And end up finding Joel Salatin, if you've ever heard that name. He's like the godfather of the pasture raised meat movement, I would say. And end up reading one of his books, and then I was like, I'm quitting my job. But I ended up getting laid off. This is like all happened at once. Like I decided I was going to do this. I actually started raising chickens before I got laid off. I rented some land in Chalfont from a farmer that I just happened to meet randomly. He had like some fields he wasn't using. I was like, yeah, let me give you a couple $100 a month. Like, carve me off like a section of this field. I want to put some chickens on it and raise them. So I did that, and we raised like a couple hundred chickens like the first year. And I had just friends and family would come and just like help butcher them. I bought all the equipment, like the pluckers. And
You're doing it just like on all the videos I watch.
Yeah,
I want to do.
Yep. and the chicken tractors at the time were like 10 by 10, like 2 feet off the ground. You put like 50 to 100 birds in each one. And so that's kind of how we got our start. I started doing like the Percy Farmers Market, not really having any success. I'm just like burning through my savings at this point. Like I'm starting a new. I sold everything I had. So like to go back to ending the corporate career, I decided to just leave. Like I just I started doing the chickens, got laid off, and I'm like, this is perfect, because you can't cash out your 401k like if you don't like leave the company. Like there's all kinds of rules and shit about that. So I cashed out my 401k, sold my house, sold my cars. Like I sold everything.
What year is this?
2013, 2012 ish. Yeah.
All right, yeah, because that's probably when he's right around on Rogan.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe I did find him on his podcast, on Rogan's podcast. But either way, I got a few of his books, read his books.
I heard him on the podcast, but I didn't really look into him until I saw a video of him, and he's really charismatic. Yeah, that's the whole thing.
Yeah, no, he's a cool dude.
Yeah.
It seems like. I've never met him in person, but yeah, it seems like a cool guy. But yeah, that inspired me just to like start being healthier. I was like, I kind of like woke up, had like an epiphany. I was just like, man, I'm eating grocery store shit. I'm like poisoning myself. Like they're spraying glyphosate on everything. I'm like, what the fuck am I doing? So I was like, let's just make a change, and convince my wife at the time. And I was like, this is what we're doing. And she was on board. So started raising those chickens, started going to little farmers markets. Like I said, just like burning through my savings. And then after, I don't know, maybe 6 or 8 months of doing that, living in a little townhouse like in Percy, but still like farming like this little plot of land I had. A buddy of mine's dad had the farm that I'm on now, and he wanted somebody to use it as a farm because it's been in his family this whole time. It's like 48 acres, roughly. And my friend told me, like, hey, my dad's got this thing. Like, I know you're raising some chickens. Like, would you be interested in leasing up there? I'm like, hey, let's go check it out. And I was like, yes, this is exactly what I'm looking for. So kind of just jumped in with both feet, got in there, built chicken tractors that are now 40 feet long and 15 feet wide in like a hoop house configuration that you can fit 400 chickens in. End up making like 5 of those. And then we would do 400 birds a week, or anywhere from 250 to 400 birds a week, depending on the batch. And
what, processing that many?
Yeah.
Okay.
Raising and
yourself?
Processing. Yep.
Oh shit.
Yep. I did have a guy for a while that had his own like chicken butchering business, because there's agriculture's got all these weird rules, like because you gotta, some of the stuff you gotta go to USDA inspected butcher, some stuff you're allowed to butcher yourself, like
up to what, 1,000?
20,000 chickens. You're allowed to butcher yourself and sell them inside the state of Pennsylvania.
Oh, okay.
I
thought
you
it
can't
was
sell them
1,000.
outside the state, though.
All right.
Now, any hoofed animal, if you want to sell retail, like at a farmer's market or to the general public, has to go to a USDA inspected butcher.
But if you're selling direct to consumer, then you don't need the butchers or something like that.
If you all like had a cow that you raised that was like yours, right? Then yes. Then anybody can butcher it.
Well, what if I pay you for this cow and you raise it for me?
Yeah, that is also a loophole.
Okay.
Yes, you can do that too, but those arrangements have to be made like ahead of time, But it's still kind of a gray area.
Yeah,
like the USDA can still show up. The government can still show up and be like, "Nah, you guys are doing this in like a mud pit. Like you can't be doing that." So
that was in Lancaster County. They were dumping all that raw milk a couple years, like.
Yeah, the Millers.
Yeah.
Totally fucking that guy.
Just like showed up and we're like, no.
Did you guys ever hear what happened with that? Like, did he end up beating it? I know there was like a GoFundMe. They raised a bunch of money for the guy.
I didn't see any of the the last I saw was like, yo, here we're putting up money because that was bullshit. They shouldn't have just came
that's the
and
problem
dumped
with
everything.
This information. It's like, okay, the guy, like their claim is the guy got people sick from bad milk. And then you find out it's like, well, it was shipped to different states, and you can't trace it back to the farm.
Right. Yeah.
So then it's like, well, who's telling the truth? Like, is it my decision to go down the street and buy raw milk off somebody, or is it not my decision?
Yeah. Right.
Like,
yeah. Is this
I don't
America? Like, what kind of freedoms do I have?
And then, but that's the whole thing with all of this is like, well, then you guys are poisoning me. Like, I'm eating donuts all the time.
Yeah.
And that's fine, because I guess it doesn't kill you right away.
Well,
I guess.
Yeah, they're trying to depopulate the earth, I feel like.
Yeah.
It's almost obvious at this point. I mean, why else would you spray poison on everything that everybody eats? Like, that's kind of.
And you can't go to a farm that's what those people do. They farm.
Yeah.
You can't take the risk yourself.
Yeah. No, dude, even like, I started the farm like 2013, 2014, kind of got that going. Then I realized that like I was never going to make enough money at a farmer's market or at the farm physically in retail sales.
That's what I want to get to. I want to get to the realization, because like I want you to crush my chicken farming dreams, because I'm just like 3 years almost. I'm sitting there like I'm going to sell everything and I'm going to go farm chickens and pigs to start. What's the realization of like how many chickens do you need to cover a $75,000 nut of yearly?
Oh no, we can get to those numbers. Yeah, so that's no big deal. So I guess we sell our chickens. One of my whole chickens costs like $50.
How much?
A whole bird costs about $50, and it's worth even more if you cut it up. So if you cut it up into breast and legs and thighs and wings, then it's worth like $60.
Okay.
So you can kind of do the math from there.
You
raise 1,000 chickens, there's $60,000.
And the problem's not so much doing the thing; it's the selling them.
Yes, it's finding the customers, because the customers do exist. And when I started Burger Box, so started the farm, Hershberger Heritage Farm, then I had the realization I was never going to bring in enough revenue to cover my bills. So I had to find a way to reach out and touch the people, and then at the time, Butcher Box was like the only other like major distributor that would like ship you, chicken or beef to your door. And I was like, well, they're doing it nationwide. I can't do it nationwide, but I can surely do it in my little town and like around the local area. So that's when Burger Box started. Then we let people go to our website. We started a website, let people go in there, order online, and then we packed up their order, and then we deliver it right to their house. So I spent like a few years like doing that myself, like driving like several routes a week, dropping boxes off at people's doors, getting that going. And we're just now to the point where I have like employees that do that, an employee that packs my boxes, an employee that delivers them, a few of those actually.
And fate gave you a good name.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
Good name.
Yeah, no doubt. So, and then, once you're, into chickens, you're like, all right, well, you can do the math on chickens, so that's still not going to be enough. So now you're like, all right, well, I got to raise some beef. So now you're getting some beef. And that's like a 2-year turn, unless you're going to go out and buy a finished steer, which is hard to do.
Chickens are what, 6 weeks, 8 weeks?
Mine are 9 weeks.
Okay.
I raise a specific breed.
Okay.
The chickens raised in a regular chicken house are just straight Cornish cross chickens. And they take about 6 weeks to 8 weeks in a chicken house. That's like they don't walk around very much. They just like sit there.
And you're only doing like meat birds, or
I'm only doing meat birds at this time. Yeah,
okay.
When I first started, I did do a large flock of egg laying hens. I don't have them anymore, but I did have a large flock of egg laying hens at some point. But the predator pressure is so heavy that like they just, and you're raising them outside. Like there's hawks eating them every day. The foxes eat them at night. Like there's just, you can't really get around.
So I wouldn't mind giving one once in a while to a hawk, but the fox has got to go.
And then we got some livestock guardian dogs, and that helps. But still, you still lose a few here and there, and then just over time, like in eggs, like I was charging like $8 or $9 a dozen at the time. And that was still barely covering eggs. But eggs are like that lost leader product where like you have to have, because people will come just for eggs, and then they'll buy a bunch of more
and then
stuff.
everything
but if
is
you don't
right
have
there.
eggs, like you'll never get those people to come. But so now like I'm friends with a guy down the street from the farm that has his own little egg farm. So I buy eggs from him because he raises them. I kind of like not coached him, but like he was always asking me questions like, hey, he was like you. He was like, I want to do this thing, and like I want to raise some eggs. And I was like, yeah, I'll give you whatever advice I can. Like I hooked him up with my feed guy, the guy I get my organic feed from, and like lend him some of my equipment, like chicken crates to like go to he went to a hatchery and bought a bunch of chickens. He put them in a chicken crate just to keep him safe in transport and stuff. So now I buy eggs from him, which helps.
And as long as everybody's doing the same practices, it's fine.
Yeah, exactly. And that's kind of where Burger Box is going now. Like now Burger Box is kind of like on its own, bringing enough revenue to kind of support my lifestyle and the farm, that I'm finding that I have to transition to more of a distribution style company versus like a farm and distribution style, because I can't do both. I don't have enough time in the day to like raise 10,000 chickens in a season and then sell said chickens in a season, and beef and pork. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So,
Has the land ever become a problem? Because 40 acres,
no.
is that
Well,
enough
only
land?
because I started outsourcing some of my production. That's why. Because at some point, I realized that like we needed to add beef, so we added our own beef for a while. But then like that's a 2-year turn. You buy a calf, you got to raise it for 2 years, then it's ready to go to market. So there's a really long turn there. And then after you're in agriculture, just like any job for a while, like you meet people, you learn of other people doing the same thing you're doing. They might have some issue that you can help them solve, and vice versa. And that's kind of what happened. I met a guy that had a large herd of cows up north in northern Pennsylvania that were all grass-fed 100%. Older gentleman, didn't want to be in farming anymore, really. He just wanted to move the cows. He just wanted to have the cows on his property, and then whenever they were ready to go to market, we would buy them and take them to market. So it worked out really good. He didn't want to have anything to do with any distribution. He just wanted to drop them off at the butcher, and then I bought them and took them, had them taken.
What
to
do
the
you think
butcher.
about the grass-fed versus the finishing of them?
What versus grass, like corn-fed, then grass?
Just to finish them off.
Well, the real danger in the corn-fed beef.
This is farm terminology.
Yeah, the real danger in corn-fed beef is glyphosate.
Okay.
So you have to understand.
So you're not so much worried about the marbling of it. You're talking about like what they're feeding.
I'm
them.
doing this to simply not eat poison. Like that is my
Okay.
whole goal in life, is to eat as little poison as possible. So, but to go down the rabbit hole in the corn and the soy, corn and soy is genetically modified. If you don't know that, right? So they've genetically modified corn and soy in a lab. So when the seeds are planted and they grow, they're resistant to glyphosate, which is Roundup. The same thing you see
So
in
that
Home Depot, like
they
you
can
buy
just
it
spray it
everywhere.
all over the entire acreage, and
Everything else dies, but the
Yeah.
corn and the soy lives. So, that, and then, of course that's passed through into the cows that eat the corn, and then it's in the water, it's in your well, it's in everything now. We all have it inside of us at the moment. But, so I kind of had that realization, and then that was kind of the whole, motivation behind my starting my farm and doing it, was just to be healthier. And
But you can grow corn and soy
course.
without doing
yeah,
that.
of course.
You just
can.
have to find a guy that doesn't use that stuff.
Yeah,
and
which
you can
I
finish.
do. Which I have a guy that grows a ton. He's got a big operation that does non-GMO and organic corn and soy.
And you think that stuff would be worth more. And also,
It is
we
more
subsidize
expensive.
that shit
It is more expensive
for
but-
some reason.
Well, yeah, don't get me started. I mean, we're going to go down a
Big-
deep
big
conspiracy
business,
rabbit
man.
hole.
It's-
here,
It's
they-
not
yeah.
conspiracy. Like,
No, I'm
we
not
pay
saying it's not a
we as
conspiracy.
taxpayers
right.
pay for farmers to grow
but
this
if you
fucking corn.
if you try to explain
soy.
this to somebody that isn't familiar, they'll think it's a conspiracy. They're like,
Yeah.
"What do you mean? They're spraying poison on everything?"
Because I see this is where it is a conspiracy, but that doesn't mean it's a lie.
Right,
The difference in, I guess, terminology there.
Yeah.
Whereas people are like, well, conspiracy is quacks just talking
Sure.
like we're doing on the internet right
the
now.
moon's hollow and shit.
Yeah, but it's like, no, it's
yeah.
a conspiracy is anything where people are getting together to be like, this is what we're gonna do, and we're not telling anybody about it.
Yeah. Yeah, so that was the whole goal. I was just, just not happy at work, not happy with how I was eating, how I was feeling, and
But
now
you're connecting with a bunch of people that also feel the same way.
Yeah. Well, that's kind of what I learned, is there was a huge shift around that same time when I had watched, Joel Salatin and learned about him. There were a lot of other people waking up too, and those people, weren't as extreme as me. They didn't quit their job and sell everything they had and start a farm. But Burger Box kind of, connected all those people, and we started getting enough orders, and it's still a struggle. I don't want to make it sound like this is some fairy tale dream where I just wake up every
You still have
day
a job. Like,
Yeah,
you
no, I
can't
work
get
every
around
day.
not
No, there's no days
doing a
off. I
job.
haven't taken a vacation in 12 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I work the farm store every weekend. I work it, 5 days a week normally. But that's kind of what I signed up for. This is my business. It's something I believe in, and I'm fine dedicating 16 hours a day to that. I'm okay with that.
I think the trade-off is, though, you're at home on your 40 acres.
Yeah.
That's a trade I want.
Yeah.
I don't want to go somewhere.
Anybody can have that. It just takes 16 hours a day every day.
Yeah.
Anybody can have it.
If I'm trading my 12 hours a day and the untold hours that I'm on the phone and emails and worrying about work, then I would just trade that for my own shit.
Yep.
Why wouldn't I just trade that for my own shit?
Yep.
And then I'd be more inclined to do my own shit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And
At least that's what I'm thinking.
It's a level of freedom. It's not quite like the definition of freedom, but it is in a way, because you said, you wake up at work, and if you want to take a day off, you can.
And
Tuesdays, if I don't want to do anything Tuesday, this farm store's closed, I could lay in bed all day if I wanted. Nothing would really happen. Maybe I miss a few emails. Maybe I lose a few sales because I didn't get back to a customer or whatever, but
That's what I've got written down.
Yeah.
The definition of freedom. The power, right, to speak or think without external hindrance, restraint, or something else that I can't spell.
You wrote it
But
down.
I know it's terrible. My handwriting's terrible. But that's the way I'm coming about this. Freedom and liberty are the things that I'm searching for.
Right.
That I think I've always been looking for. Why I've always been a conspiracy theorist or a anti-establishment, or when we were younger in the 90s, it used to be like Republicans and conservatives were the bad guys.
Right.
They're constantly trying to restrain us and keep us in tow with whatever Christian religion or whatever.
Yeah.
And now
Now you realize the
30
whole
years
government's
later,
corrupt.
I'm like, holy shit, I agree with them people more than whatever the liberal side has turned into these days.
Yeah.
Not that either of them are of me, because they're both fucking
Yeah,
corrupt
it's all
and
corrupt.
terrible.
Yeah.
So, but that's where I'm at. And the more people I'm talking to,
Yeah.
besides Kev, looking at me like I'm crazy,
I mean, you are nuts.
and it's funny, from the very beginning of this, 9/11 was both a big, we've talked about it a bunch of times.
It just
our
kept
first
coming
episode.
up for a while.
Yeah. I mean, it's a big thing in our
It sure
life, our
is.
generation.
Yeah, no doubt. No
And
doubt.
but even back then, I was just like, "Yo, this is crazy. What are you talking about? The guys we're sending people over to die and kill. Like, they didn't even have anything to do with it.
Right.
And then you look at the whole big picture of it, and you're like, I don't know, man. Like, I don't know what's going on. And it doesn't look right.
It's not getting any better either, because now with like AI, like you don't know what to believe, dude.
Well,
like,
I'm
it could
scared
all
for
be
older
fake.
people and us eventually once we turn that corner of like we can't tell, because anybody that's like 70, 80, they're completely gone. They can't figure shit out, dude.
Here, I want to give some advice to our future selves. Hopefully, we can watch this someday and hear this, because I try to explain stuff to my parents, and they think I'm legit crazy. Like, they're like, "What do you mean?" Because my dad like still sprays glyphosate on his land, like to kill the weeds or whatever. And I'm like, "You have to stop doing that. Like, you're gonna get cancer. Like, you're gonna hurt yourself."
But even you might not get cancer, but like
true. You might not.
You're up in the challenge. How much do you want to up the chances?
It's not good for you.
Yeah.
But that's what I was gonna say. Is like the knowledge that we have now. We need to look at our kids like that, because when our kids are our age, they're gonna be aware of stuff that we're like, now we wrote that off.
I
like,
hope.
That's bullshit. You know, but like if my dad would like legit take me serious,
just listen a little bit.
Yeah, and just like take and listen, like I know what I'm talking about. Don't treat me like, yeah, I'm your son, like I'm an idiot. You know, like listen to what I'm saying.
No, their eyes glaze over. Like every morning on Sunday, it's like, have you seen what Trump's done? I'm like, the garden or whatever he's building, that doesn't mean anything. Yeah. We're going to war right now. What are you talking about? Yeah. But they're just, as soon as you start talking about, well, we're paying all these taxes and we're doing all these things, they just glaze over, and they're just like, yeah, man, that rose garden's stupid. I agree. I can agree. I'm not fighting the other side against you. I'm just saying, like, that's fake.
And our taxes paid for that too.
Of course.
Yeah.
What else would?
Oh my God, the taxes thing! Don't get me started. Just like taxed on literally everything. Like you can't. do anything.
Then you're taxed. You taxed when you get paid, and then you're taxed when you go buy something, and then
when you die.
It's funny. Our biggest video on TikTok is talking about Jersey. It's like 60,000 views of like, you can't leave Jersey without paying.
Yeah.
And we were corrected. You can leave. You just got to go certain ways and all about this.
Yeah,
like,
right.
No, it's
without paying a toll.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's funny.
It's free to enter. It's $5 to leave.
And the second biggest thing they were talking about is like, if you move from Jersey, there's like a moving tax that everybody on this on TikTok was talking about.
No kidding.
Like, I don't know. I never want to live in Jersey. Terrible gun laws, and
for sure.
it's fucking like sandy and shit when you get close to the beach. I hate sand.
I need an arsenal. Yeah, I can't be like caring about my guns. But yeah, but I think that's it. Like the freedom, the freedom is working for yourself. You know, you're stressed out. It's hard work. You don't know if you're gonna make it through the month. Blah blah blah. But you can go get your hair cut when you want. You can go to the grocery store when you want.
You can hang out with family.
Go to the gym when you want. Exactly.
Yeah.
You can do the things you want when you want to do them most times.
And if you want to just shut down for 2 weeks, you can just you have everything you need right there at your own place.
Yep. Yeah, I choose not to. I don't know. Maybe I'm just like, I don't know. Like vacations, I don't know. If I was on vacation, I would just be thinking about all the shit that I should be doing. You know,
my friends bust my balls all the time because I never go on vacation. Mostly because I don't have money. But the second thing is, I want to turn where I live into the vacation. Like, I mean, it's not going to be sandy beaches. I don't like that shit.
Yeah.
I want to be able to go ride foilers in my backyard. I want to go be able to shoot guns. Like, cool shit like that is
Take your
fun
dog
for
on a
me.
walk in the woods for a mile or so.
Whatever it might be. Let's go shoot some squirrels. Like, let's, on my own property is the dream.
No doubt.
I don't have all the, like, you see these people, they go to the all you can eat I'm already all you can eat. Like, I don't need to go somewhere, and plus it's hot. Like, I just want to chill. And I want my home to be the vacation. But that's just me. I know not everybody's like that.
I'll never take a vacation. I'm just saying I want to be a certain place in my life where I have a general manager of my farm where I can be like, all right, look, bro, you got this.
Handle it.
Operations are going to continue.
You don't have to shut down for you to go and take the trip.
Like, we're still working towards that.
I'd go to Oktoberfest in Germany, like shit like that. But like, as far as the regular vacations, like I think you should be able. I think a lot of people don't like where they live and what they've got to do there all the time that week. But like you said, like I would be I'm thinking about the whole time. Like, I got this bill due. I got this. I got to do that.
Yeah. Well, and the other thing is when you start working for yourself, you realize that you have more time in a way than you had before, if that makes any sense. So I'm an entrepreneur at heart. I mean, I learned that about myself in my early 30s when I, quit everything and sold everything. I was like, this is for me. Like, I'm never going back and working for the man. Like, I will legit move to the woods and build a cabin with an axe and with my own two hands before I would go back and get a corporate job, And after, doing the farm for a while, then I've always been interested in furniture making. So I started my own furniture business, and I would run that out of my barn at the farm, because at the barn I don't need, because I raise all my animals outside, right? So the barn is just kind of sitting there empty. So one of my neighbors, became like a business partner of mine, and then we started a wood shop. And I had to run that for several years, successfully selling like, high-end custom furniture, building tables and chairs and dressers and benches, whatever, anything, all custom. Like, I would meet customers at the farmers market. This is the other thing I learned, is that high-end furniture and grass-fed meats go hand in hand. The same people that are buying a $50 chicken are paying $10,000 for a dining room table.
Yeah.
So, I'd meet customers at the farmer's market, because I would take cutting boards, and sometimes I would take like small pieces of furniture that I made, like chairs or benches and stuff, and I would have them sitting there, and then, the wives of the rich dudes wearing 2 Rolexes would be like, oh, babe, look at that.
Yeah.
And then I,
get I mean, they've got the money.
Well, and there's a thing for like, I mean, I feel like you remember being similar age of like an heirloom type of piece of furniture. Like that doesn't, how many things in your house right now could you be like, oh, my kids could take this and they could use that armoire or,
they could totally use these things that I made.
Yeah.
Not that you made them, just that they're a quality of,
that's not
craftsmanship.
Yeah, so I recently shut that business down. Just, my business partner decided to go do some other stuff, and we just kind of like, shut it down. But I will have another wood shop at some point, but, right
Yeah,
now.
but that's like a cool thing you can do on the side.
Yeah, it's awesome. Yeah.
Well, now if you have all the stuff in your barn, you can just at your own,
for sure. No doubt.
leisure.
Yeah, and then I met another good buddy of mine right now. He owns a supplement company called Rucha, which is a magnesium supplement that we sell online. I'm now part of that company as well. So we're doing like most of our sales on Amazon. We also have a regular website where you can order it as well, but most of the business goes through Amazon.
Okay.
So I spend about a day or two a week, working on that as well.
What do you need magnesium for?
It helps you sleep. That's mainly what I use it for. There's a lot of other health benefits.
I think it's like it helps your body absorb vitamin D too. Is like one of the major benefits of it.
Good job, Kev.
Yeah. Nice
Oh, you knew?
I was going to say, because I got vitamin D with K in there, and then it's
go.
also good with magnesium.
Yeah.
Not to say like I'm like it's just so funny. Like
the picture
I have
of health.
a bunch of vitamins in there, and I'm just like cramming donuts and burgers down my throat. It's just look, I do what I can where I can.
Yeah, that's all you can do.
Maybe I'll have an epiphany one day.
Yeah.
But
that's all you can do.
Food's I'm addicted to food.
Yeah.
It's the best thing to be addicted to.
Yeah, so now I guess I'm a serial entrepreneur, because I have several different businesses that keep my life pretty hectic.
But you have the ability and time availability to do those things.
And I love that, and I love the struggle of it. I love like we need to sell. I need to sell $5,000 worth of chicken in the next month, or we're not going to be able to pay for the next batch of chickens that's coming up at the end of March, or whatever. So, that gets you on Instagram, and you're like using AI to come up with, marketing ideas that you haven't done before, different ways to sell, different, percentages off, or different free this, free that, so it's kind of.
So how much, like, I get percentage wise, like how much of the work to get all of this done is back sitting at a computer? You're just at home now.
Well, now a lot of it is that, because we're outsourcing beef production, and this coming year will be the first year we outsource our chicken production. I found an awesome farmer out towards Gettysburg that has his own pasture-raised chicken farm, just like Hershberger, raises birds exactly the way I do. And then we have a contract for this coming year where he's going to produce 3,000 birds, or 3,000 to 6,000 birds for me this year. So we'll see how it goes.
Yeah.
I'm
How many
excited.
birds do you need to make $75,000 a year?
Yeah, well, you need 70, 750.
That's it?
No, 1,500.
1,500
1,500 birds. $50 a piece.
All right, I could do that. Because here's the dream. I'm talking about, like, I want to, like, I want to do it big. Everything page I'm following is like just start small, start small. I want to start with like 500 birds right off the gate. Like I want to get land, and I want to
do the
bang
opposite of what
out
everyone's
300
telling me.
birds
Honestly, 500 birds isn't that is small.
over the course of a summer.
Yeah,
like,
yeah. No, that's a
in
good number.
in sections.
That's a good number because you could do like a 5-month cycle, 100 birds a month.
Yep.
Yeah, you could easily handle that by yourself. You could butcher 100
Yep.
birds yourself,
That's the plan.
sell them at a farmer's
But I also like
market.
that idea of doing the better birds, like because you do look at those birds that everybody does, and you're like, man, that can't. So
Yeah.
we're trying to get away from the chemicals and stuff.
Yeah.
But we're kind of going into the breeding of like a bad bird. I don't know. I don't know if that
Well,
matters so much.
I mean, a regular Cornish cross chicken does okay on pasture. Like they're all right.
Hmm.
I raise Freedom Rangers, which are as a Cornish cross crossed with like a Rhode Island Red. Let's say, it's like bred with an egg laying hen. So they tend to be stronger. Their legs tend to be stronger. They tend to walk around more. They tend to forage more. Where like a regular Cornish cross will just like sit in the grass and just like wait for a cricket to come over and eat that cricket. But like these birds that I raise will literally, like when you're moving the chicken tractor, like we move the chicken tractor one length of itself every day, so 40 feet every day. It gets moved one length of itself, and we pull it with the tractor like half a mile an hour, and the chickens like walk inside as you're moving it. And once I started raising this crossbreed of Cornish, they run to the front. They're looking for the crickets and the bugs and the flies and the grubs and all that. Like they sprint to the front of the tractor because they know that that's where the new fresh grass is coming. That's where all the bugs are. But when I was raising the Cornish, they wouldn't. You would have to like go back and like shoo them all up. You'd like come on, get going, get going. So they're kind of.
I don't know if it's the same. Like I would obviously you have to like when I was starting out. Like obviously I'll do the Cornish cross, but I'd like to really get into zeroing in. I don't know. I'm just thinking. Never mind. Whatever.
Yeah.
What do you think about like pigs? You do pigs or no?
Yeah, I have raised pigs many years. I just sold the last of my pigs last winter.
What do you think about that?
I hate pigs.
Really?
Personally, I hate pigs. Yeah, just I don't know. Like I had their paddock that I raised them in kind of close to my house and my barns. Like I could smell them.
Yeah, I don't think you want to do that. That's what
and,
everybody says.
Dude, the pigs will eat you. Like
Yeah.
you can't just fall down in there. You fall down and bump your head in there, like you're dead. Like,
That's what I was gonna say. Do you ever have
get
to
stuck in the mud in there? Like get your boots stuck in the mud and you can't move, like quicksand. Like they're gonna get you.
You never red dragon somebody? You get
Yeah.
toss them to the pigs.
Or snatch.
Maybe, once the apocalypse gets
Yeah.
here, you want to have some pigs, for cleanup duties. But yeah. But yeah, no, so I've outsourced that now too. Luckily, I got a guy that raises pigs on pasture.
And I want to know those coonies. I don't like them with their little things.
I actually started with those.
Do you like those?
No,
Oh,
they're
all right.
terrible. Yeah, they're too small. They're too small. You get like 1 pound of bacon.
Yeah, no, I want the Idaho pasture pigs
Yeah,
or
yeah.
like something else.
Yeah,
Cross
Berkshire is
breeds.
a good breed. Yeah.
Like I watch that Joel Salads and stuff. He's like, look, I don't give a shit what kind of breed it is. Like it's just got to look good. Like
Yeah.
it's just got to look like you want a pig to look.
And if you raise it outside and you give it lots of sunlight and give it lots of healthy stuff to eat, like it looks like an awesome pig.
Yeah, because like you can look. I don't like PETA because I think they're a bunch of pussies. But you watch the videos and you're like, God damn, like I don't like that either. I don't like a pig just sitting in a stall like on cement.
No, yeah,
like that's terrible. And then
That's
just
like-
inject it with a bunch of shit.
That's the other thing about like Wagyu beef. You ever heard about
Mhm.
Wagyu beef?
Yeah,
Like
they're-
they like
they're
literally chain them to
They're
a post.
unhealthy
Yeah.
cows. Like that's
Yeah.
why all that fat's in
Yeah,
there.
no shit. Yeah, it's crazy. And there was a guy at a farmer's market I've been to a few times down in Berwyn, and he was nice to me, but like you could tell that he was pissed that I was there, selling my grass-fed beef, and like he's trying to sell his, fat, Wagyu. But
Yeah,
but it's different. It's a different.
but also
market.
like you'll find different people.
Yeah, it's a different market.
Yeah.
But
Is there a lot of competition in the?
dude, don't get me started on farmers markets, man. Like, farmers markets, like, most of the time it's ladies that get in charge of these markets, and nothing against ladies, obviously. I'm a straight man, so I love the ladies, but
Yeah.
they get a little bit of power, they get a little bit of responsibility, and then
Brother,
they are busting balls. Dude. They are busting your balls.
Is it like territorial? Like
Well, it's not. It's just like
it's like, oh, you're new here. You can't
Well,
like
it's
this.
some
You
of
can't
that.
break into our turf.
They don't want competition a lot of times, which I get. Like if I was at a big farmer's market selling, a couple $1,000s worth of meat a week, and then some other big farm comes in and I'm down to like $1,000 a week, like I'd be pissed too. So I get the competition thing. I'm more talking about just like the promotion, like, I don't know, I just feel like they don't do a great job of like using, like, because I'm pretty active on social media, but I didn't feel like they did a good job of just like snagging my post that like I would tag them in and blasting it out there. I feel like that's like that's your job. Like
piggybacking
I'm
on.
supporting.
Yeah.
I'm giving up my Saturday to be at your farmers market for the last 10 years.
Well, they've probably
You're
got
not
those
even
their
taking
people.
good pictures of my product.
Yeah.
Like you're just sending out like random bullshit.
Well, that's where people come into play. Like, well, they're probably promoting the people that they like or know or whatever. Then you got to start thinking conspiracy. You're like, they're all against me.
Yeah, it's it's whatever. Farmers markets. This is advice I would give to anybody listening to this that would think about going to a farmers market as a source of income. Figure out what your product is. Use the farmers market to test it. That's all you're going to do. You're going to go to the farmers market. You're going to see if you could sell out. You're going to see if you get enough, generate enough revenue to make it worthwhile. The farmers market is not going to be a consistent source of revenue for you. There's going to be rain days. There's going to be hot days. There's going to be vacation days. There's going to be holidays. All these days add up across the year. And, the Yardley Farmers Market, for example, been doing that market for, last decade almost. And this past year, I did $35,000 in revenue. And that's every Saturday for the entire year almost. So it's just not worth it. You're spending $50 in diesel to drive down there. I have a nice farmers market setup. I've got like enclosed trailers, 16-foot enclosed trailers that have freezers, just like my store. You saw my store?
Yeah.
Okay, well, imagine my store inside of a 16-foot trailer. So I would take that 16-foot trailer, park it right at the market. I've got freezers in there stocked to the gill with all the meats, and still can only do $35,000 in revenue. Like it's not enough.
I just saw one of the YouTubers I've watched. They made one of those. Like, holy shit, that's way better than bringing all these coolers and stuff. Like,
I know.
Why don't? Holy shit, that's and they've got the generator and stuff, like the quiet battery. I'm like, oh damn, that's the way to do it.
And a lot of farmers markets have power, so like I would just plug into the power pole. They have like an outlet there somewhere.
But you think about it, it's localized. Like you're only going to get people in this circle. Maybe you'll get some people traveling, but
and that's really why Burger Box is successful now, because we did the Doylestown Farmers Market for several years, and we've done the Yardley Farmers Market for several years. This is probably like the first year that I'm not going to do it, just because I want my Saturdays back, and I'm not giving it up for $35,000. And that's top line revenue. You know what I'm saying? Like now we got to
that's established.
Yeah, now we're like, maybe we're talking a couple grand in profit. If we're 30% profit at best. But, that's advice I would give to anybody that's thinking about starting a business and going to a farmer's market.
Don't bank on the farmer market.
Use it to test your product. Use it to test it. And if it seems like it's selling well, you get a bunch of good feedback. You'll get honest feedback at a farmer's market. That's what you will get.
So what's the stage? What's the next stage then? So
is online. You have to find a way to distribute it online via social media, via influencer deals, with Rucha and I have another company as well called PA Grass-Fed, which is a co-op that my buddy Shane and I started, which is basically the idea is small farms like mine, like we sell out of filet mignon. Like I'll get 3 steers butchered. Like today, for example, I had 3 steers delivered from the butcher, that I had paid for and got cut up, and the filet mignon out of those 3 steers will be gone in 7 days. Because people know that it's there. Now in the store they're going to come, and now all my burger boxes, I got 30 burger boxes going out, tomorrow, and then I'll have another 30 or 50 next week, and the fille's gone. Okay, but all the other meat's there, all the other steers there.
So much
now
better.
What? So now what? Now what do I do with all those families that love my filet mignon? How do I supply them with that without losing their business? And that's where PA Grass-Fed came around, is we decided that we could start a co-op of farms where other farmers can join our grass-fed co-op. You can buy animals from us. You can buy meat from us at wholesale prices, and we can buy animals from you in wholesale prices. That way, if I'm out of filet, I can reach out and be like, hey, bro, can I buy 20 pounds of filet to get me through till next week? So that's just in the infancy stages. Like we just started that business last year, so it's kind of still just like getting its feet under it.
Filet's overrated. Like it's good. Don't
No,
get
no.
me wrong, but
I
there are
totally
so many
agree.
better
I
cuts
totally
than the
agree.
cow.
Yeah, totally agree.
watch those bearded dudes cut up cows all the time. I'm like,
Yeah.
Yeah,
You really realize like how much meat there is, but also how little meat there is. Like just you can only get so many of these out of one cow.
Yeah.
I think we're really divorced from the idea of like what one cow equals. I don't know.
Well, I'll give you an idea. I got 3 steers back today, 850 pounds of ground beef, and I like to look at it in those terms because I want my ground beef to pay for everything. So if the ground beef is sold, that means it paid for the steers, it paid for the butchering, and it paid for the marketing. So all the steaks, all the roasts, all the cubes, all the chip steak,
That's
all
all
the other
just-
cut, that's all
Just
profit.
off on the top.
Yeah. So, you kind of have to price it that way because you're going to get the most ground. You're going to get hundreds and hundreds of pounds of ground meat, whether you want it or not.
Yeah.
So,
We gotta eventually. We just gotta go in and split a cow.
Yeah, I'll do that.
Just because
Well, you can get a freezer from him.
that's I need the deep freeze
Yep,
still.
Yeah, we're doing a deal right now. You buy a quarter steer, $1,590. I think I have it down to now. You get a free chest freezer and 100 pounds of meat.
See, that's a deal. Like,
Yeah, it's $15 a pound. As I'm saying,
Yeah.
my fillet is $49 a pound. So you can either get fillet at $49 a pound retail in the store, or you can buy a quarter cow for $1,590 and get a free chest freezer and pay $15 a pound.
and it's good. Like I've been doing the butcher box for years, just because that was the first thing I heard of,
Yep.
and like when me and my wife, like before we were married and like had moved out, I was like, I want something that is gonna. I didn't want to have to go to the store, so I was like, it's gonna come to me, nice,
Totally.
and grass fed, grass finished, like just trying to be a little conscious of some of this stuff.
Yeah.
And that I think that was the only one at the time, and I've been a customer, but something like what you're offering, I think even if I knew about it before, I probably would have done that, just being like, oh, it's local, so it's not like something's coming from Montana that they're freezing and that's where they have to source from.
Yeah, I still order a butcher box occasionally because I want to see how they're packaging their meat. So like I'll order a butcher box just to get their cardboard box. I want to see what's inside of it. I want to see what kind of insulation they're using. I want to see how big the block of dry ice they're putting in there, like because I can use that for my own. Because I literally modeled my first website off of Butcher Box's website. I just took their website. I built my first website. It's several generations away from that now, but luckily I was fortunate to have.
Oh, and that's like you have the IT background, so you could.
Well, somewhat. Like,
so you could do something, and I'm sure you knew somebody that could do something
no
too
doubt,
at that point.
But now we have more of like a professional site that I hired somebody to build. So, but it's all just growing pains. You don't know what you need. You don't know what you don't need until you come to that crossroads, and you're like, all right, well, this is what I have to do to solve this problem to generate more revenue or whatever it is.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
It's a fun life.
That's what I want to do, dude.
Yeah.
Dude, I tell everybody,
I know.
everybody that comes into the farm store and talks to me about, because like I tell people this story and they think I'm crazy because like I sold everything I had and did this, and they're like, yeah, I want to do something like that. I'm like, just do it. Like, don't wait, just do it. If you have an idea that you want to pursue, go and do it, because you don't want to be that dude that's like on his fucking deathbed being like, damn, if I just bought that Corvette, or if I just started that farm, or if I just sold this or that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no regrets. I try to
get it tattooed
And
across
what's
the chest.
and at the time, see, that's why I was comfortable doing it, because the amount of money that I was making at the time in the corporate world, I was pretty confident that I could just go back and do that. Like if I started
That'll always
this
be
farm
there.
and I lost all my money, like I would just go back to work if I really had to. I didn't at the time. I didn't quite have this like serial entrepreneur like motivation where like fuck the man. Like I'm never working. I'm never having a boss again. Like nobody's gonna tell me what to do.
Well, that and you're working a corporate job, so you don't realize the soul crushing weight that you're bearing until you get out of it, and you're like, oh man, I'm never going back.
Right. Yes.
Salt Lake City Punks. Good ass movie.
Oh yeah.
You ever see that movie?
I haven't.
All right. It's kind of like the Anarchist. It's a good movie.
I'll have to look it up.
Yeah, it's
You're gonna be able to read this? Do you take
I
your
don't
time writing this one down?
all right. Have you? I'll fucking guy. Loans and grants. What do you
Loans
think
and
about that
grants.
stuff?
Loans, yes. I mean, you're going to have to borrow money at some point, Grants, I've had some limited success with grants. I've found personally that the large grants, like when you hear dudes that are borrowing like, 250 grand, 500 grand, most of the times those grants, you have to match the funds. Like they're just not giving you that money. Like you have to have some money to match it.
Okay, I'm more on the thing of like how much, because the whole point is like fuck the government. How much money do you want to take from the government before they're like coming to visit you and be like checking on you? Like,
well, they don't really come. They're not coming for loans. Maybe if you went like over, if you stopped paying it or something. But we did get a COVID relief loan because when COVID happened, right? So back in whatever that was, 2020, 2021, we were shipping through the postal service, because at the time the postal service was like kicking ass. Like you could like take a box to the post office and it would be in Florida in like 2 days, which is great because like dry ice lasts great for 2 days.
Yeah.
You know, it's all good. COVID hit, like all that dried up. So like all my southern business, like I couldn't ship to them. I was shipping. I was almost lost
what's
my
your
ass.
area? I don't think we even asked that.
Right now we're shipping basically down to North Carolina, north to Maine, and west as far as Ohio.
Oh shit.
Okay, damn.
Indiana sometimes. I have some customers randomly from Indiana, but that's like that circle.
East Coast.
Yeah, East Coast mainly. So that dried up, and like, dude, we almost went out of business because like that was a bunch of revenue that was going down the drain because I couldn't get meat to people without it thawing out. And at the time, I didn't have a Shopify site, so now my website's built through Shopify. And through Shopify, this is another recommendation I'll make to any entrepreneurs out there that are looking to start something, is get a Shopify site, because there's a lot of, especially if you're shipping stuff, if you're going to be shipping your product, which obviously if you're online you probably are, is they have deals with UPS and FedEx and everybody where you're getting like a 50% discount for everything that you ship. So like stuff that would have cost me before Shopify would cost me, let's say $30-40 to ship it to North Carolina, now it costs me $15. So that's one huge benefit, is they have partnerships with all these shipping companies that really saves you a bunch of money. So another good tip there.
Yeah, for sure.
Everybody.
I'll be using that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And Shopify is relatively cheap. Like they might even have a free option. I don't know if they do, but they have some relatively cheap options where you can set up your store. And it's like plug and play. Like they have like plugins where like you don't have to be a tech whiz to like set up a website. You can just like it's like your iPhone. You can install apps on it. Like you want to deliver stuff locally. You need an app that like tracks the driver the way he's driving around and dropping off boxes, and he takes a picture and it sends the picture of the box to the person. There's an app for that. You just download it to your Shopify store and integrate it, and then it's there. You don't have to like code anything. They've already done that. The company that built that app already did all that.
That's what you're paying them for.
Exactly. So you pay like $100 a month, and then you get that feature. So
Nice.
Yeah, sounds worth it for sure.
yeah. No, it's big upgrade since we've got Shopify going and all that.
We already answered the farmer's market question I had.
Yeah.
I guess this is more opinion, but like, why do you think it's maniacal, or do you think it's like, why are they spraying all this stuff in the food industry? Do you think that it's on purpose, or do you think that it's just the biggest way to make money?
I think probably how it started. Now this is just my opinion. I think probably how it started was they needed to feed the nation. And this was the most efficient way to do it. Not the healthiest way to do it. It is the most efficient way to do it. We can spray this chemical on the crops. It kills everything. We get a bigger yield because the weeds aren't growing against the corn and the soy. They're not competing for nutrients. There's only the corn and the soy, so it's going to produce more corn. And they're feeding it to a lot of the steers, the cows that are raised in America. 90% of those are corn fed. So I think it started like that. I don't know. Like I'm a conspiracy theorist at heart, so like I probably do think that they knew it was bad for people. Like they probably did some tests and knew it killed rats or whatever.
Yeah, but you're feeding the world.
Something.
You're feeding the world, and I think it's just like a giant ship. It's just like, well, we're going this way. Like we can't turn it fast.
Yeah.
And in fact, we got to fight corporations and people and families the whole way to even right the ship. So I don't know.
I
definitely
think now
conspiracy.
though, like now in 2026, I absolutely think it's on purpose now, because now we have enough data to know that it is bad for you. It does cause cancer. It causes all kinds of problems for people, and there's no mention of a singular road to get away from it. It's just like, what we're gonna do? We're gonna start producing it in America now. It's American-made glyphosate. It's not made in China no more. Fuck China. We're gonna make it in the United States, and we're still gonna poison the people, but we're gonna make it here though.
Yeah, well, it's just
Like,
we know that foods can be made healthier.
Yeah.
Like we ship them to other countries.
I
Why
think-
wouldn't we do that to
Well,
ourselves?
that's the other thing. Europe and all these other countries have outlawed glyphosate.
Yeah.
They don't even allow it in their foods.
Anybody that doesn't agree with that has to watch that video of that guy. Like, well, why don't you drink this then? And
Yeah,
he
yeah.
totally doesn't drink
Yeah,
it.
yeah. Did you guys see the clip of the McDonald's guy
Oh
taking
yeah,
a bite
the
of that
CEO.
burger?
That was great.
I mean, it's just so
I feel
hypocritical.
like he almost threw up. He was
It's
like,
right in our faces, and
Yeah.
it's just that's the problem with everything now, especially with the internet, and it's going to change with AI. But like, I think this is going to be a time period in history where it's like, damn, everybody knew because they told them. Like, there's a video of people flip flopping and saying the other thing, and
Of course.
there's videos of people saying the things that everybody thought for years that were saying that they were conspiracy theories,
Now
and they
it's
are real.
Yeah.
I genuinely think that at the root of whatever conspiracy theory of glyphosate or alien, whatever the conspiracy is, it all comes down to there's a couple of people that are making a lot of money on it,
Sure.
and they don't want to stop making the money.
No doubt.
And it's just like, but you see how unhealthy everyone is, like why, and you just don't care because
Yeah.
you don't want
They're
to,
getting paid. Yeah. Yeah.
lose out the money.
Well, and it gets even worse than that because, the crops, like you could save the seeds theoretically, right? You could grow your GMO corn, your genetically modified corn, and you could just save the seeds and you could replant it next year. You wouldn't have to buy. You could save half your crop, right, and not feed it to your cow. You could save it in a silo and then you could plant it the next year. Well, you can't do that because you'll get sued.
That's why all those
Yeah,
Indian
if you
farmers
get-
are killing themselves.
You're technically leasing all of the
It's
crops.
not yours. It's not yours.
Yeah.
That's somebody's technology that you're leasing now. Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, that goes into the freedom and liberty part. Like, how much of our lives do you want?
Yeah.
They want it all.
Well,
Yeah,
what's
yeah.
crazy is you grow everything GMO free, and you're growing everything with the glyphosate, and your farms are next to each other.
Yeah.
And then some of your seeds blow into your
Right?
farm,
There's
and then
drift. Yep.
the next
Yep.
year they're just like, oh, look at this. This is actually
Yeah,
GMO.
uh-huh.
You're getting sued
Yep.
because you didn't
buy these.
Yeah, it's like we're taking all of it, not just the little bit that we found.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that doesn't.
It's crazy. That's what I mean. Like this, like, I hate to say, like, bring up the Matrix, but like that's what makes me think the Matrix is probably real, because all this asinine stuff, all this stuff that like anybody with common sense would be
sense,
like,
yeah.
what is going on here? Like, what are we doing? And it just continues on every day. Nobody gives a shit.
Well, it's like we got our taxes done last week, and you had to pay for it, and it's like, I don't really want to, but whatever.
Yeah.
The whole deal is what it is.
Yeah.
And you start looking up stuff. Number one, why do I have to go and prove this is how much I'm supposed to pay in taxes? The government already knows exactly how much I'm supposed to have paid. But then
It's a test. Yeah.
number two is the like TurboTax and H&R Block, any of these
Yeah.
companies that make money doing taxes.
Yeah.
The government was like, oh, we could build a website that just does all of this for free for everybody, that has all of the information we already have
No
already
doubt.
put into
Yeah,
it. So we
of
don't need
course.
to do any of this.
Of course they.
And
could.
then TurboTax and H&R Block are like, here's a bunch of money. Don't let that happen.
Yep.
Like, it just,
make it really hard and confusing.
yeah, it's just ridiculous.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Do you guys, when you get your paychecks, do you have taxes taken out of your paychecks?
Yes.
'Cause
Yeah.
you can opt out of that.
Yeah,
I mean, you have to save the money, obviously, to pay the tax at the end of the year if
That's
you're
the
going to pay
problem.
your taxes. But you could take that money and put it in a CD for the year, put it in some investment where you would earn 4%, where you would actually have more money at the end of the
That's
year.
too much for somebody dumb like me.
Oh, come on.
Like, everybody could do that, and I think
Yeah.
that's one of the things. Like, hey, everybody just stop paying your bills, credit cards and stuff. Like, yeah, I get it, but there's so many. I
Yeah, but
think that's part
legal.
of
what
free.
what I'm saying there is like you can
Yeah.
tell your employer like don't take taxes out of my paycheck. I'm going to take care of that at the end of the year.
I mean, the government's taking a no interest loan on your money for the
Yes.
taxes
Yeah,
that
exactly.
they're holding on for
Yeah.
you.
I believe in the free will of like, because everybody does like. I believe in the free will of like people that want to live in the matrix live in the matrix. Like,
sure.
cool. I mean, not everybody wants to do their own thing and be like, self-sufficient or whatever you want to call it, more or less freedom.
Mhm.
I just think that it shouldn't be punishment or fought so hard against for people to do.
Yeah. I agree.
I don't know. I
Yeah.
don't know.
No, they try to keep you trapped, no doubt.
Yeah.
That's the way of the world these days.
Uh,
You have to trust your gut. That's what I've learned. You have to trust your gut, because your gut's talking to you all the time.
for
It's
sure.
like, you
Saying
probably,
eat more
You know what you
donuts.
should probably do? Well, yeah, no doubt. Dude, we're all victims of that, man. Like, you guys ever had Oh Wow Cow ice cream? You know where that spot's at?
Mm-mm.
There's a few of them around here. It's turned me off from every other ice cream out there because like it's legit.
I don't need to find better ice
No,
cream.
no,
'cause
well,
I'm not even a big ice
I
cream
shouldn't
guy.
have brought it
Well,
up.
I say
Brought
ice
it
cream
up.
is my on was Saturday or some one of the days over the weekend, and we were out, and then we're on our way back. It was like ice cream, and we're like, oh, Rita's is open just 'cause it's like a quick thing of soft serve, and
Yeah, yeah.
by the time we get to the Reeds, they're closed. It was like, all right. We ended up going to the grocery store, and I got a pint of Ben and Jerry's and just housed the whole pint.
Yeah, no.
And then had the worst time. Like, I slept like shit. I felt bad the next day. I was
Dude,
like, why
right?
did I do this?
Oh my god!
But it was so good. I will do it again.
Yeah,
We've all been
milk
there.
doesn't hurt
Yeah,
me.
We've all been there for sure. But yeah, the OL cow, like it's near the one grocery store I go to up in Ottsville, PA. There's a OL cow up there, and I have to like literally force myself to drive
Damn.
by it. Like, I gotta keep my hands on
It's
the
that
wheel.
good, huh?
Gotta take a left to go home, so I take a right to the ice cream shop.
I guess what's the outgoing message, and where do you see yourself in 5 to 10 years now that you've made it to here?
Yeah, it's a good question. I being an entrepreneur, as I've been for the past like 12 years or so, I tend to find myself jumping from idea to idea. Like, I wouldn't say like ADHD style, but just like, after I've done something for a period of time where I become not an expert, but like very well versed in it, I'll think of something else. I'm like, you know what I should probably do? But at the same time, like I said, I'm eventually going to be looking for somebody to take over my role as the CEO/general manager of my businesses. And then I can go and either maybe retire, maybe do something else. My true dream in the next 5 to 10 years would be to have a homestead somewhere like in the legit mountains, like far away from society. I mean, like 2 hours from the nearest town, like middle of the Appalachian Mountains, maybe Tennessee, maybe central PA somewhere. Just because, like I said, the amount of the lack of common sense that I see everywhere that I go is weighing really hard on me, and I want to escape that. So like, even though I've escaped the first level of the Matrix working for myself, I'm still trapped in it somehow. So I kind of just want to like get to the point, like save up the exact amount of money that I think I would need to create that property, that little homestead, whether it's like 10 acres. I'm not talking like a giant, like Wyoming you know what I'm saying? Just like enough
Yeah, because the
land
age
to,
thing, like I think about it all the time. I'm like, well, how long are you going to want to do this? Like,
Yeah,
'cause
well,
you're going to get old.
dude, that's what I'm saying. And like, I'm not waiting to 65 to retire. I'm retiring at 50, dude.
Like, I'll come back to the
whatever I have at 50 years old, I'm leaving. Like, I'm cashing that out, and I'm going to the woods. I'm not even joking. Like, I'm not kidding.
No, I like that.
I was going to say, just like, is there anything you could think of that you would be making the same move you did when you quit corporate and you're like, I'm selling all of this and I've got this thing coming on the horizon?
My other lifetime dream is I want to be remembered. If I'm going to be remembered for anything, I want to be remembered for my furniture. Like, that's one thing that I know that I can produce that will last hundreds of years. So that's part of my end dream. Once I achieve the amount of money that I know that I need, I will move to the woods. I'll build a little pole barn. I'll put up my little wood shop in my barn, and I'll make awesome furniture. And I'm not worried about selling it because it's going to be the shit. Like, it's going to look awesome. Like, people are going to see it and be like, oh yeah, fuck yeah, give me that. Send me that table, or make me a custom table. I saw this table you made. Like, I need one of those. And I can do that from anywhere. I don't have to live in a city to do that. I can do that in the middle of the woods. And that's my dream. That's what I'm going to do.
Awesome.
I like it.
Yeah, man. That was another episode of the Express Lane Podcast with
Kevin Stan and Nate from
Thanks, guys, for having me.
Hershberger Heritage Farms.
Thank you.
Appreciate it very much.
Thanks. Yeah, it was awesome.